Hey, good evening. How is everyone? It is good to see you. It is good to be seen by you. I am your handsome host, Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver, and I hope you're having a positively positive Tuesday because, well, stuff's going on. Joshua Garlock, Bob Jester, Battle Pelennor Fields, Tonka Todd, greetings. Good to see you all. I'm glad you're here. And I hope you're all well. So let's just jump into something. Yesterday, NPR, is it NPR or was it PBS? The PBS, sorry, released a hit piece. Now, I really, this was quite something to see. I've never seen such a blatant pack of lies leveled at such a narrow field of the hobby before. I was actually like, it was breathtaking to see the amount of muck, high pressure stream of muck directed at Classic Dungeons and Dragons by PBS NewsHour yesterday. And they tried to hide it because they were getting ratioed so bad. Literally the only feedback on their article on Twitter, every response was negative, and it was from us. Greetings, Robert Phillips. Yes, Delve 2023. So they got, I believe the term is the kids use today, ratioed. And I was in there. So after, I don't know, getting pounded constantly for a day with calls from myself and lots of others to delete this pack of lies, they kind of responded. They didn't change anything in the article, not a word, not a bit of punctuation. They didn't add a hyphen, nothing. They just reposted it to hide the beating that they were taking with the original. Well, it's been found, and now everyone's kicking them again in exactly the same way, in exactly the same place. I'm not going to share the link with you. You can go find it on social media. You can find it on their website if you want. I encourage you to politely email them and express your disappointment with their ignorance. Or send them physical mail, also politely expressing your disappointment with their ignorance. But I don't want to give them any traction, and I don't want to give them any traffic. I certainly don't want to give them traffic on their website. But perhaps the funniest thing in the entire screed that they put up was, and I was both amused by and took great offense at this. Greetings, Tommy Die. They made the comment that opposing the advances the modernization of Dungeons and Dragons was a movement called the OSR that aligns itself to the political right and fights against what they consider over-diversification. That was your takeaway? That was your takeaway. I have never backed down from my claim that the OSR started here. Not on this show. No, I'm not saying it didn't start here. That would be a difficult claim indeed for me to make. But the let's publish modules with a classic look and feel. Let's promote these rules. Yeah. And you witches with a silent B at NPR, it was never about that. It was about wanting to play first edition advanced Dungeons and Dragons and not the schlock that Wizards of the Coast was selling in third edition, the ruination of D&D by slathering on needlessly complex and broken rule systems created by people who, and I have evidence of this at the time, had never seen classic AD&D rules. Perhaps second edition, certainly not first edition, because Ryan Dancy himself told me so in forum postings when I pointed out to him that only first edition advanced Dungeons and Dragons, to the exclusion of all other forms of Dungeons and Dragons, has a baked-in system for rewarding good role play. Right from the start in 2000, the game fell into the hands of people who didn't understand Dungeons and Dragons. I was opposed to that. And only that. And we've slowly over time prized their hands open and got our PDFs. Then they took them away again. Then they came back to us and apologized in 2014 and gave us our PDFs again and a limited print run of AD&D books and adventures, some adventures. So I found this article particularly amusing, and that point of view particularly infuriatingly funny. And they seem to be taking the approach PBS does of lie again, and repeat the lie and keep repeating the lie until it becomes the truth. So, that's kind of where we are. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the motivation behind this. When I went back on and started using Twitter to basically drive up viewership of my little thing I do here, I said, I'm just going to turn the contrast knob all the way up or down or volume or something. And I'm going to shut out negativity. And all I'm going to focus on social media is thinking positively about classic Dungeons and Dragons, talking positively about classic Dungeons and Dragons. And that's what I've been doing. And I noticed this, Twitter is a hell site and yada yada. It actually wasn't. In fact, when it comes to social media locations, I found this rich vein of old schoolium running through Twitter, where it was just an exchange of ideas. We didn't care about politics and little multicolored icons up in your thing. If I posted something positive about AD&D and somebody else gave it a like and then a comment and then retweeted it, that was all I cared about. And it was great. And so what I've observed over the past few months is that there's been this confluence of people who love these things and talk about these things and talk only about these things and enjoy each other's company. I don't know half of those people's leanings on any subject except classic D&D. And some of them now play 5th edition, but they grew up playing 2nd edition or 3rd edition. But when I post pictures out of the player's handbook and Dungeon Master's Guide and Monster Manual, or I make up my own silly monsters and make it into a template that looks like it's out of a classic AD&D Monster Manual, or I do a one-tweet dungeon, a one-tweet module, where I cram a 4 or 5 encounter adventure module into a single tweet, and people like it. They like it. They enjoy it. And they don't go, that's one of them old schoolers. I better not pay that guy any attention. He could be full of wrong think. Michael Connor, welcome back, brother. Good to see you. And all seemed to be pretty well. Everywhere I looked, and I was so happy about this, I just saw positivity. Even after my horrible posting of a quote from someone from Facebook from a couple of years ago, I just saw positivity. It gets a little weird, because they're, friends, they're people who follow people who follow people who follow people, and I'll see strange stuff pop up from time to time. But I tell Twitter, I'm not interested in that, not interested in that, not interested in that, not interested in that, don't care. And I leave the D&D post alone. So Twitter has started to learn. Now, just my personal outside observation, everyone else kind of drifting along that same current with me was experiencing the same thing. And I would say to people outside of Twitter, doesn't it seem like classic D&D community is a calm, friendly place? Yes, it does, Bill. This doesn't fit the template of Twitter of a year ago or even 6 or 8 months ago of it being a hell site. It's amity. It's comity. So what did we get today? What did we get today and yesterday? Amidst this sense of friendliness, we got this article from them. We got this article. Why? Why now? Why now? And why at exactly the time where a few shrill, shrieking voices have been raised up not the least of which from Wizards of the Coast themselves, about what awful and terrible people we are. Why now? Who sent them here? I was on T-shirted Historians live stream this morning having a bit of a chat. My internet connectivity wasn't doing so great, so I unfortunately it was spotty. But I said then, and I still firmly believe this, ask yourself, look at things like this. Look at something exactly like this. I didn't know about this morning. I wish I had. Because this would have been a great bit of evidence to back me up. When you look at a clear attempt to create a false flag event of discord and distrust, those OSR guys over there, they're bioessentialists. Gary Gygax was a racist. When you see stuff like that come from a reputable news source, and it's so blatant, it's so on its face, obvious attempt to sow discord under this exact environmental condition of WotC literally trying to physically break the game off of its history and say, this is D&D. All this that came before, it doesn't exist anymore. Ask yourself, and if you can come up with the answer, then you'll know, who benefits from sowing this discord? Who benefits? And what benefit do they gain by driving a wedge between you and me, between him and her? Ask yourself who benefits. Follow that. The answer probably won't surprise you if you really stop and think about it. So that is my take on what has gone down today. Just ask yourself, when you see arguments like this boiling up, it's like we have this lovely community, everything's cool, everybody's having fun, we're all having fun. And then suddenly, someone you've never heard of, speaking from a position of authority, starts telling you about how this part of your group might be toxic. And they tell this part of your group, hey, they've got it in for you. And then you tell them, hey, you're pretty toxic. Who benefits? And why? And what are their benefits? Follow that trail, and you've got your answer. Or you can track backwards. It can go in both directions. Who would benefit from it? Well, the obvious answer is Wizards of the Coast. Now, Wizards of the Coast is Hasbro. Hasbro is Wizards of the Coast. All right. The idea of Wizards of the Coast as being this tiny little amalgam of dedicated people who love trading card games and love role-playing games and all the greeblies and accessories is a lie. It is a false front. It does not exist. It is an impressum owned by a company that's almost as big as Microsoft. It's like suggesting that you could sit down on the front porch of the old Coca-Cola place and crack open a cold one with the CEO on a hot Saturday afternoon. It's not true. It's a lie. You could no more get close to a gamer at Wizards of the Coast than you could walk into Lockheed Martin's facilities and meet the person who designed major systems in the F-22. You're not going to make it past the front desk. They're not your friends. They're not gamers. They're not fun-loving people that you want to meet and hang around. All right. They're both of them, interestingly, coincidentally, Microsoft employees who were responsible for the Xbox. So they're not. All right. Hasbro stock is in the toilet. To be fair, lots of companies' stock is in the toilet. I'm not a stock guy, okay? I know it's bad. You look at the line and it just kind of goes down like that over the course of the year, and it's not going back up. It's just... But lots of companies are. One of the most money-losing parts of the company has been Dungeons and Dragons. It has underperformed. Anything that takes a penny out of the stockholders' hands, a tenth of a penny, a hundredth of a penny. Yeah, do you ever do like deep dive seriously into Greyhawk and look at the coin denominator? There are iron coins in Greyhawk. There are iron pieces, and it takes like 1,000 of them to make a copper piece. It takes like 100 of them to make a bronze, and 10 bronze to make 1 copper. Well, imagine being so tight-fisted that you can feel if a tenth of a penny, a hundredth of a penny slips out. That's how Hasbro is. So they look over here. Somebody keeps them informed. Iron Drabs, thank you, Bob Jester. See, I love my community. You guys know this stuff. You guys can remind me of this stuff. So these people see this tiny trickle of money out of their hands, or a hemorrhaging of money out of their hands, and they look for every place to plug leaks. I only want this. And I'm not going to lie to you, 3E fans, 4E fans, even players of Osric and Swords and Wizardry, I would prefer you play this. And the irony is, this still makes Wizards of the Coast money. I don't want you to pirate it. Pay for it. It's theirs. They sell it. Buy it. If you want a print to PDF copy of the Dungeon Master's Guide, and you ask, hey, where can I get a PDF of the Dungeon Master's Guide, Bill? I'll send you to DM's Guild so you can buy one. I won't send you to a pirate site. But that's not how they see it, and that's not how they see me, and that's not how they see the OSR. So their solution was probably to work hand in glove in getting that article published, to churn up division, to set us against each other. I'm cool with people that play 5e, but an article comes out saying, you know, those classic D&D players, they're kind of racist, you know. And what does that do to you and I? What does that do to our relationship? So that's where we're at. That is what they have attempted. Hand in glove with PBS. That is what went down yesterday and today. With all with all due respects to Jim DeBurrow, no, it is not just a framework. This is not an extant framework of stress between two sides that they are taking advantage of. They are creating this. Their hand is on the lever that is driving the wedge in between, or attempting to, because if you go look at this mess on social media, they have gotten, again, ratioed. So that's kind of where we're at now. That is what's going on. And you know, I am way more of a fan of The Lord of the Rings as a book than I am the movies. Like, the further I get away from the movies, the less I like them, but they're still light years better than that thing, that abomination that Amazon created. So, at moments like this, staring out at stuff like this, before I break into my happy song and dance and I come on here and I get manic and I talk to you guys and I have a good time, I do feel a bit like the film version of King Theoden looking out at the doors being hammered inwards and just muttering to myself, how did it come to this? What can men do against such reckless hate? But then I come on here with you guys and I'm happy again. And so that's where we're at now. Happiness, good times, positivity. Hey, if you guys weren't on the stream last night, did you know we have closing credits now? You have to stay to the end of the stream to see the closing credits. I fixed them. They're better than they were last night, and they'll get played. They'll get played properly at the end of tonight's live stream, like all the way at the end of tonight's live stream. So if you want to see them, you got to stay through and play first edition or watch us play first edition AD&D, or come back. That's a good one, Ricky. Only for a very large super chat. Yes, Bob Jester 28, I did. I changed it from Rob. It just says Rob now. Jimmy Invictus, good to see you. I have missed a lot of hellos, so yes, Mobius, last night was the first time because we came back from Christmas break and I told you guys I was going to use Owl Bear in its entirety. That is the entire song Owl Bear by Bob Antone. And Kennick, a.k.a. Sapphire. I love you to pieces. Hello. Good to see you. Tonka Todd, my own personal cheerleader. Tonka Todd is like my plastic. Like if I could have like a plastic Tonka Todd on my dashboard, like some people are like, oh, I got a plastic Jesus. No, plastic Tonka Todd on my dashboard. And a plastic Dungeon Minister, like on either side of where the steering wheel sits in my car. Just these two little icons of positivity. Oh, and I was also on, this was New Year's Eve. I was on Dungeon Minister show. And I didn't say any swears. So speaking of swears, that I feel like I need to address this again, not because anybody has been bad, but just as a reminder, YouTube has gone full Marion Cunningham on us, okay? If I put you on the stream, please don't swear. All right. I get little enough crumbs from YouTube for AdSense and stuff, and they will absolutely just throw the big knife blade switch on monetization on any video now where I say a swear. If you'll notice, even though I've been angry, I haven't cried havoc and let slip the dogs of fart. Can I get away with saying fart? We'll see. I'll look at the monetization. Fart. So I'll let you guys know tomorrow. I'll do like a short video tomorrow. I'll swear every other letter. How about that? I couldn't do that. Like if I wrote that down on paper and tried to figure out how to make that work, I could probably do it. But John David, hello. But anyway, so that's kind of the state of things. That's kind of the state of things. Discovery's nowhere. I don't know. But you know, we're just that's part of the positivity. We're just gonna move on positively. One thing that I had, many things amongst the many things that I have promised is thank you, Tony Todd. Your father's a hamster and your mother smelled of elderberries. Does that work? We are bringing back tabletop. I didn't have it ready tonight. Things are still they're building up steam. Hey, we have the closing credits, courtesy of Bob Antone, that fantastic closing credits piece. But I'll be working on stuff for like the patrons. Yes, there are Patreon things that I will be working on, and there is more positivity lies ahead. There will be positivity in terms of the Tales of Tabletop Triumph, which the first one is going to be out this week. I haven't decided if it's going to be Thursday or Friday, but once a week, every week, at a minimum, that's just to start. I will be telling you guys the opposite of RPG horror stories. I will be telling you RPG Triumph stories, the stories of and that's how I got to be best friends with that guy. We met playing D&D, and that was when we realized that silly halfling thief had saved our necks and stuff like that. Because there's people that they tell the horror stories online, and it's a good grift. Okay, don't get me wrong, but one, it's a very crowded niche, and two, it's so many of them are negative. So many of them end with like the person that posted them says, and I never play. This whole circumstance with the gropey bard killed role-playing games for me. I just went back to playing World of Warcraft because it's more my space. It's like, man, that stinks. I don't want to hear that. I want to know about the time your buddy Dave, you guys know Dave, right? Yeah. So when your buddy Dave and his friend Ed, they come over, they've never played D&D before. They think it's just nerd stuff. And you start talking about Arnold and Conan the Barbarian and that sort of thing, and you told them how it's kind of the same jazz, but they could be Conan and Subutai, and so they sit down and you rolled up a couple of quick characters for them, and 5 hours later, they were ready to go buy minis and paints and books and everything else, and now you've been playing D&D with them since like 1991. That's the kind of story. That's the kind of story that I'm going to be putting out there, because that's what our hobby needs. I know there's people who've had painful experience at their table. But I also know there's a bunch of those stories that are just too good to be true by half, that are just made up. So maybe it doesn't take off. Maybe it doesn't net me a single subscriber. But I'm going to tell those stories. The first one I'm going to tell you guys about how I met one of my best friends in the whole world and his, at the time, future wife, playing tabletop role-playing games. And I don't want to give it away. I don't want to spoil it all. So that's like the first, there's a little sample. I'm handing you the sample tray. Oh, you like the flavor of that? It is, in cooking terms, an amuse-bouche. I just whip something up in the kitchen out of what I'm cooking, and I bring it out, and you all sample, and you're like, oh, that's delicious. Can we have more? And I'm like, no, not yet. So that's what's coming this week, that first episode. It'll probably be about as technically adroit as most of the stuff I do, which is to say, not at all. You know, as those of you who sat through the first playing of the end credits last night know, you know, because I'm large. I don't say I'm largely a one-man band because people help out, but like I haven't even figured out YouTube thumbnails. Like I keep getting like, maybe there's like just a template online you can do, and just, you know, YouTube thumbnails, and I entered it in, and it's like, yeah, you can try it out once for free, and we stick a watermark on it, and then you got to tell us how much you want to pay every month. And then other people are just like, dude, just learn GIMP. I'm like, I have plenty of spare time to learn how to use an advanced photo manip package. Okay. But I will gradually put a little bit of polish on this hot rod that I have pieced together out of that engine and that frame and those body panels and these bucket seats. And that, to everyone's amazement, actually starts and runs. It'll happen, and it's happening, and I feel very good about it. Which is why stuff like the article that I was talking about today really annoy me, you know? Because here I'm over here. I am Captain Positivity. But I see things like that, and I'm like, I'm positive that sucks. Yes, GIMP, and it is, I mean, like, I know it's like hella powerful, like Blender. GIMP and Blender. And what's another one? GIMP and Blender, I think that's probably it, are incredibly powerful. That's like, you know, I need a switchblade for a street fight. Here's a nuclear weapon. Oh, Lord! But I just don't have I don't have the time. I mean, if days were 36 hours long and there were 12 of them in a week, I could maybe get away with it. But as it is now, Michael, I want to hear that. So that that comes to the next point. A repository for the positive stories. Discord is not a great tool to use. I do use OBS. I use OBS and I use Voice Meter to handle my audio stuff. And then I come through like all the tags, the stickers, the banner on the bottom there you see is because I use StreamYard. And I use StreamYard because StreamYard takes all the bandwidth requirements off of me. Particularly like when I have 4 or 5 people streaming with me, I'm not hosting them here and then sending them up my narrow little like 1.5 megabit up line to get 1080p over 4 or 5 people to you guys. But no, there are powerful tools out there, and I've just, I'm gonna try and learn them and use them as best I can to make good stuff. To make good stuff, and I mean, if it's just me in this little space I've got, and I'm just doing stuff by myself, then people want to pitch in. And this was before Christmas. I was like, I'm getting blinded. My lights are terrible. And somebody was like, buy a diffuser, man. And I have a diffuser now, and my diffuser is great. Hello, Twilled Ambassador. I'm not making fun, dude. Yeah, I mean, I kind of got a handle on OBS. But you make a good point. You're going to roll 3d6 6 times. You're doing it right, buddy. But anyway, no, people volunteer all sorts of input all the time. Like, the audio wouldn't be nearly as good as it is without Bo Ganora's help. Like, he got me set up with Voice Meter, and I got that working, and so that was super duper helpful. Hey, 3d6 in order, 46 arranged to taste. It's all good. Or 46 best 3 arranged to taste. 4d6 arranged to taste. What do you mean you have a 24 strength? Get out of here. I have a face for radio too. But no, there's just a sense of so many cool things I want to do for you guys. Like, I don't play the lottery, but I'm just saying, if I hit the lottery, if a pallet load of $100 bills landed on my front yard with a note attached to it that said, finders keepers, the studio might change a little bit in that, I would be sitting in a room with more bookshelves, a bigger room. I think you guys would largely get the same stuff. Winterwolf, I just purchased first edition Player's Handbook print on demand through Drive-Thru. Yeah, that's the way you do it. That's what I like to see. Welcome to the fold, brother. First edition AD&D. It's what it's all about. Now, I'm going to warn you, that book is a trap. That book is a trap, and you're going to open it up, and you're going to fall head first right into first edition AD&D. It's a slippery slope. When you come to, you're going to be inside of an infinite universe of Gygaxian goodness. Oh no, I didn't take it that way, John. I'm just saying I have a face for radio too. I'm not the most handsome guy in the world. My wife thinks I am, but she gets a pass on that. Just poking a little fun at myself. Do I consider Mark Miller's Traveler to be a good addition? I don't know which version of Traveler that are you talking about, like the GDW one, like the 3 little black books, or it came in a larger volume? Because if you mean that one, if you mean like the first one, yeah, I like it okay. Kyle has been DMing us, I guess game mastering, not dungeon mastering. But what is Unexplored Space but just a massive 4-dimensional dungeon, right? But yeah, no, I like classic Traveler. I don't know what Traveler they're up to at this point. Really, my co-host Kyle is the guy to bombard with the Traveler questions. He can tell you. He knows his Trav. Because there's Traveler, there's Mega Traveler, there's Traveler 2300, there's GURPS Traveler, there's Travelers that add massively complex skill systems onto yada, 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 yada. Well, this is one place where I step up, Jimmy Invictus, and I do tell you, go to archive.org or Anarchive, ANNARCHIVE. You can find all issues of Dragon Magazine. And I tell you that because they're not available anywhere else unless you buy used physical copies, which is not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. I really like Rode. Their mics. Pad mic is only 100. That's interesting to know. This is like the lowest end blue snowball mic, because it seemed to be the one that all the streamers were using back in like 2013, 2014. And my only gripe is that the USB, like the plumbing, if you will, of the USB jack, that is where the male jack goes into the female connector, its tolerances are very loose. So I actually have to have the cord blue tacked in place, because if I bump this slightly without doing that, it would disconnect my mic. And then voice meter would go bonkers and say, well, you don't have a mic plugged in anymore, so I'm just turning that channel off. And it wouldn't be like, oh, I'll plug it in and start talking. It'd be, I'll plug it in, go in a voice meter, and reconfigure it so it sees my mic again. But no, I've seen a lot of streamers use Rode mics. And it's good to know that they're not that expensive. The nicest piece of studio kit that I own, I think personally, are these. These are AKG studio headphones, and they're marvelous. I love them. I'm going to get another pair just for my computer for listening to music and podcasts and stuff. The mid ranges are so sweet. The lows are like warm chocolate, and the highs are like songbirds, and everything in between. They sound phenomenal. I look like a dork sometimes walking around with these on, plugged into my phone. You know, it's like Princess Leia buns on the sides of my head, so I can hear stuff in a close approximation to how it's supposed to be heard. I say close approximation because, of course, we can have that discussion about how MP3s are clipped off at the end and their compression is funny on them and that sort of thing. But short of very gingerly walking around with a turntable in my hands, that's going to kind of be it. But yeah, I love my AKG headphones, and they're not expensive. That's what blew me away. These things are, they were like normally $69.99 on Amazon, and I picked them up for almost half that. So, I mean, I don't know pro audio, but I know those headphones sound phenomenal. Yes, I agree. So we're kind of coming up on the hour, and we're going to be playing first edition AD&D. Mea culpa, no visual elements yet, but next week, depending on what the party does, the party may go to a wilderness setting, a wilderness circumstance, and I don't have that set up, but I do have a plan. This is I'll tell you guys about what my plan is for the terrain setup. First of all, it looks like just the vast majority of people do want to see science fiction terrain down for the Friday live stream of Gamma World. And of course, my Monday night game, I told those guys, that's not streamed, but I told the guys on Monday night we were going to go back to terrain on the tabletop. So I can either go crazy, constantly changing stuff around and then picking stuff up and putting down sci-fi terrain. But genius me, I came up with this idea. I'm so dang smart. Little project boards like this, on each corner, like a 2 1/4 or 2.5 inch piece of dowel glued down, and enough of these to cover the table with. When I'm playing a different game or when the party's not in the dungeon, but we want stuff out, I just set these down edge to edge and then put more terrain on top of it. Pretty smart, huh? So it'll basically be a 2-layer gaming table with modular tables, for lack of a better term, for stuff to stand on. So that's what's going to happen. How has WotC not started selling old copies of Dragon or Dungeon? It would be a gold mine, but the problem is there are shreds, there are bits and pieces of old contractual stuff that freelancers who wrote in Dragon and Dungeon magazine back in the 70s and 80s and 90s, they may have said, okay, I'm going to write this on contract for you guys, but only for the print version. That's what happened to them with the Dragon magazine archive CD-ROM. This was in print for a very, very, very short period of time because the artists and creators, including Kenzer & Co., the guys who do Hackmaster, were never offered new, for lack of a better term, recording contracts. And there were legal rumblings that went out, and we can talk about that another time. But suffice it to say, the ability or desire for Hazards, that's Hasbro and Wizards, to spend the money and track down people who sent in one article in 1976 and offer them a new deal is not going to be worth selling a couple of dozen copies of each issue. Start flipping copies of that CD. Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. Get thee behind me. No, this thing, it's funny. You can't, like I said, you can find the issues online on archive.org, an archive, but this thing still goes. People still pay like $500 for that. And I think it's the fact of the existence of the set rather than the idea of the data that's on it. Paizo owns the portion of Dragon that they wrote and published. And it is locked in amber because they can't publish Dungeons and Dragons IP. So they can't do reissues. They can sell off the stock that they have remaining. And they do occasionally say, hey, we've got 5 issues of Dragon magazine number 290 or whatever. So they can't print more to sell, but Wizards of the Coast can't stop them from basically sitting on it. So we're going to be starting the game in a few minutes, and some of you folks might be saying, well, isn't this the point at which you would... that's very true. Isn't this the point at which you would thank all of your folks who support you on Subscribestar and PayPal Direct and Buy Me a Coffee and of course Patreon? They're in the end credits. You'll just have to stay. You'll just have to stay to hear that awesome, awesome, awesome song from my buddy Bob Antone and watch the credits that I sweated over putting together. So trust me, they're going to get theirs. Oh yeah, they're going to get theirs. So we're waiting for our last 2 players to file in, and then we'll get started. So in the intervening 4 or 5 minutes. Any questions you guys have got, I will tell you, just type them in the bleep bloop there. I will tell you, tomorrow night we will be back. Kyle will be running something. We'll find out whether he's going to send us back into Classic Traveler, or we're just going to have a BS session and put our feet up and talk about what we're going to play. Or we're going to, I don't know, we'll see. Start something new. Maybe he's got something in mind and he's going to spring it on us as a surprise. And we'll go through character generation for whatever it is, and we'll just take off. By the way, that is the official Foley for starting a new RPG campaign. Just like that. So when you sit down with your players tonight, particularly if you bought a copy of the first edition Player's Handbook, say, guys, we're playing AD&D. I wonder, why are you making that weird noise? And you just have to tell them. We are playing first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons tonight, as we do every Tuesday night. Battle. I don't, Jimmy. I sure don't. I know we can jump 1 hex and then we have to refuel, and it takes a week jump transit. If that helps you, and we're playing Classic Traveler, so put those 3 things together and you can probably sort it out. A 1 jump drive, yeah, there you go, Tunkadod. So we're almost ready to do smoke bombs exist in AD&D? You're talking about like producing a chemical, a container full of chemical stuff. That's up to you as a DM as to whether or not you want it to exist in your campaign. Now, if you made a mix of like half pine pitch and half your usual oil mix and through it, I would imagine it would produce a lot of choking smoke. How good that might work? I mean, when most dungeon monsters all have infravision, how good is that smoke? Probably not going to avail you. And in fact, it will impede stuff like missile fire from you if you're humans, and spell casting. By default, there are no rules for that kind of obscurement unless you're talking about something like pyrotechnics or an ever-smoking jug. What do I recommend to a noob in D&D? Okay, so define levels of noob for me, Tiveld. Define levels of noob. Do you mean new to role-playing games? Or experienced in role-playing games, but new just to Dungeons and Dragons? And I'll answer both questions. If they're new to role-playing games in general and you want to introduce them into old school, either original D&D, be gentle with them, or one of the flavors of basic D&D. And if you love AD&D like I do, graduate them into AD&D from that and start saying, okay, now we can start adding options. If they want to play the new shiny, then yeah, the 5e starter set. But I hope I would hope that it's the classic D&D that you can get them interested in. New to D&D and role-playing games. If they're not after the new shiny, there's nothing wrong with starting them with basic D&D. If you are experienced with first edition AD&D, then start them there. So here we go, folks. It looks like our our rollerball competitors are entering the Houston Power Arena. Just dated myself there. Rollerball is such a great movie. But let me go ahead and don my headphones, and we're going to welcome our players back from a holiday vacation. Let us say hello to Baron Von Headbanger as Cork. Very festive in the background. We love it there.
Just too lazy to take it now.
Don't worry. If you have cats, they'll know it soon enough. Marcus Mabner, or as we call him, Mabner.
Hello.
Doomsword Deathmaster. And, of course, the one, the only TK as the inimitable Sir Outlier.
How the bleepity bleep are you, you bleeping bleep?
I'm great, you son of a bleep. I couldn't be bleeping better if I bleeping tried. You bleeping bleep hole.
Let's go bleep the bleep with our bleeping bleeps now.
Exactly. Okay, so when last we left our intrepid adventurers, you were in the process of sorting through some treasure, I believe, were you not?
Yes, we were back in Greyhawk. We had identified some magic items. We have a pile of gems and jewelry that I guess Turgo needs to take to Jim Smith the Gemsmith.
Right.
And such like that.
Okay. So just a quick response, Pellinor. We have a paladin, a thief, a dwarven fighter cleric, and a human magic user. That is the party makeup. And they also have a human expert hireling as a fighter. And they also have some men-at-arms who are now kind of reaching the point where the party has to keep the men-at-arms alive rather than the other way around.
And we
Poor Harold.
Alas, poor Harold, we hardly knew ye. All right. So, in the city of Greyhawk, in the city, the Greyhawk city, the party plots tonight. What will you do? What will you do?
Well, who's first? I mean, I can take the gems down now, or...
If you can take care of the gems, we might be able to get XP. And I'm not sure if anybody's close enough to level. But we need some gold.
Okay.
I'm about 1,400 away.
Y'all are pretty much do a level, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to level anytime soon. I've got 20k before I can level. So I suggest let's liquidate gems and jewelry, and maybe the great DM will give us some XP totals. We can figure out what we're leveling and such like that.
Perhaps. Okay. So you have 4 pieces of jewelry and 16 gems. One is a big pink diamond.
Yeah.
It's in a small wooden box marked "Property of Blake Edwards." I'll leave you to puzzle that out, you younger people.
Fantastic movie.
Yes, it is. So let's have a gander here then, and I will let you know.
Let's see. Am I anywhere near leveling anything? Probably not.
All right, so your gemstones. Let's see here. So I can't find my list, and one does as good as the next. So
Well, if I somehow get 2,000 experience points, I could level my fighter.
well, you just might.
Actually, no. I only need 1,100 doubled. So, yeah.
All right. The party. Who is playing the bass drums over there? All right, so you have an amethyst worth 100, a banded agate worth 10, the aforementioned large pink diamond worth 1,000, a bloodstone worth 50, a blue quartz worth 10, a blue sapphire worth 1,000, a carnelian worth 50, a chalcedony worth 50, a piece of worked coral worth 100, a deep blue spinel worth 500, an eye agate worth 10. It's a nice looking marble. You can go shoot with the goblins in the alleyway with that. A golden yellow topaz worth 500, a hematite worth 10, an iolite worth 50, a jacinth worth 5,000, and a jet worth 100.
Okay. Apologies. Can you give me a total on that? My Bluetooth earpiece was like breaking up. It seems to have solved
Not at
itself
all.
now.
Not at all. Let's see. Anybody out there in the audience do the math on that? Anybody want to throw that up there? Anyone? Anyone at all? Anyone?
Yeah, I missed a few of them, but I think I got my sound issue cleared out now.
Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. So let me fire up yield calculator. So we have, for convenience sake, I have this very compact keyboard, but it has no numpad, so it makes this a little bit of an adventure.
It took me a second. I just totaled it up.
Ah, okay. What do you got?
8540. I think that's correct.
8540. And so how many pieces of jewelry was it? 4?
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, I can see in my notes now that you had given me an appraisal. I want to say of 7,900, but it was 8540. I assume I probably wrote it down wrong.
I totaled the gems to 8540.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There's 4 jewelries and 1. Okay, gotcha.
So 8540 plus the gems then. Or plus the jewelry then.
That is correct. So I need to figure out the jewelry then. The jewelry. Hang on just a second. I'm going to see if I actually still have these notes or if they went down in flames. Also,
Was it a rock gold crown or was that a previous one? Rock gold crown.
I remember something about the matching belt.
Blood ruby earring, bracers and belt, and pair of earrings or something rings. And I've got numbers for those there, so I can give you those.
that sounds that is correct. Actually, that is correct.
Okay, the rock gold crown was 2,000. The pigeons with a blood ruby, pigeons. Whatever. I don't even know what that says, but with the blood ruby ring, it's 1,800. Bracers and belt were 3,400, and the pair of something rings was 700.
Probably arm rings or earrings.
Yeah, I think it was earrings. So there you go. So you have that. If you take those to a lapidary, your favorite lapidary and gem dealer, we can play that out.
All right, let me just get myself a quick total here.
Sure. I'm happy to grease the wheels and make sure Turgo doesn't get too greedy.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to come along, you're always welcome.
I feel like my terribly ugly face helps somehow.
Maybe he's scared of you. Scared you bust
You're well spoken. That's the thing. You are well spoken.
I have a face like a railroad map and a nose like a potato, but man, do I talk good.
Exactly. You got that James Gandolfini thing going. I mean, nobody thought that guy was good looking. Everybody thought that guy was brilliant.
It's a shame it's that way in real life too.
Yeah, well. All right, so your friend the lapidary, he greets you. Ah, yes, do come in. What is it what is it I can do for you on this cold end of Needfest evening?
I'd love to say that it's a pleasure to meet you and see you again. And I will. We come bearing treasures. Magnificent ones. I'm sure you'll agree.
Perhaps I will. Show me these treasures, if you will, good Turgo.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and roll out the jewelry pieces that I've wrapped in leather, I assume, on his counter for him to take a look at.
Okay. Yes, I see some crude construction here. That I would dare say that this was perhaps something that was once more valuable, but beaten into jewelry by unskilled hands, at least in the case of these two pieces. These earrings are quite lovely.
I made those.
Really?
No.
I didn't think so.
I knew you didn't.
Yes, well, I suppose you wish to sell these items to me, yes?
Indeed. That would be the best usage for us.
And what are you asking?
Well, on this jewelry, I believe I have their value at 9,000, give or take.
Perhaps a little less give than that.
Sure.
For these, I would say 7,500 is an acceptable number, is it not?
I was thinking perhaps a little less take. However, let's set these aside for a moment.
Of course.
And now, the jewels, or the gems, rather.
Please.
Yeah, I'll lay those out. I'll dump those out of a belt pouch.
All right. He kind of just sort of he's got like padded forceps, and he just kind of disinterestedly picking through them. You hear him snort when he picks up a couple of them in quiet amusement, and says, "Yes, well, I suppose for baubles such as these, I could be persuaded to part with perhaps 5,000 gold pieces."
Ooh. I was a little more impressed with your offer on the jewels, and I was hoping for a little less take on your part on the gems. All things being equal, I mean, I understand you're just a businessman, and you have to mark things up a certain amount in order to keep the business open.
You would short me until next harvest if I were to go a single iron nib over 6,500 for the gemstones.
6,500 and 8,000 for the jewels. Was that what you said?
I heard 8,250.
Perhaps my friend was right. He does have a sharper ear in mind than I.
Yes, I should recommend a good cleric. You've been struck about the head, and your ears are perhaps ringing because the number was 7,500, my friend.
7,500.
However, I could go as high as 7,750.
7,750 and 6,500. What's 14,250?
$14,250 it is.
Well, considering my goal walking in was 14 out of a presumed 15, I'll take it.
You drive a hard bargain, sir.
And of course I do, sir.
You can be assured that I always recommend you everywhere I go. Except
All
the
right.
Thieves Guild, that is.
He, kind of. Very well, my good man. You may vouchsafe these items here with me, and take this letter of marque to the money exchange bank in the very center of Greyhawk itself.
Indeed. Thank you. We shall take this to our treasurer first, as he handles such, shall we say, paltry transactions for our considerable adventuring group.
Alrighty. So there you go. You guys have a not inconsiderable amount of money. What are Abner and Cork doing while this is going on?
Sleeping.
That's the beauty of being a dungeon master for you folks out there in the audience who might not know it is player engagement.
Abner was going to talk to Darawesh and ask him, Abner wants to find a beefier bodyguard, a henchman, to put in game terms. So if Darawesh could help him at least know how to go about this, should he put a notice up on a board someplace? Should he bribe a barkeep? What do you do?
Okay, so Darawesh needs to open his Dungeon Master's Guide to give you the full. Let's see.
I kind of know some of it.
Well, sir, leave us consider your options. I suppose it depends on what sort of man you're looking for. You are not considering a simple mercenary, but someone who's a little bit more trained in the puissant skill at arms, yes?
Yes, such as yourself.
Of course.
No disrespect to the memory of Harold and of my still able Hilda, but I don't feel that they are capable enough for the dangers we now face.
Yeah, of course, sir. Well, perhaps your most effective means, Dungeon Master's getting to that section. Bear with me a moment.
Darawesh considers carefully.
Darwish considers carefully. Well, you, of course, could hire an agent. You could perhaps post notices in public, have those printed up. Frequenting an inn or a tavern, anyone will tell you they are a great slayer for a few coins and a drink, and then you never see your silver again. But I would suspect that something on one of the many notice boards around the city of Greyhawk, or if you wish, I would be more than happy to do the legwork for you, presuming, of course, that Turgo is so disposed. I could seek out my fellows. That comes with its own its own costs.
Of course. If your current employer is amenable to it, I would have gladly pay you, remunerate you in the appropriate manner, whatever manner you feel is appropriate.
Of course, sir. For, say, 300 gold pieces, I will be your agent.
That sounds reasonable. Yes, that'd be great.
Alrighty. So back over to Turgo and Outlier. You guys are taking the letter of credit right back to the bank, yes?
Yeah, unless don't we traditionally have Abner do that for us, or does it matter to Abner?
Doesn't actually matter to Abner or Mark.
However, it gets to the bank.
I just want to make sure we know what the split is.
Sure. So We've got 14,250.
And do we split it 4 ways, and then Turgo, you then pay your henchman from your share? Is that how it works?
I think we split it
Yeah,
5 because the henchman gets a half share, and the other half share goes to the group treasury.
Okay.
It's the only downside of Darwesh is he does take a big cut.
He makes a big cut too.
He likes big cuts and he cannot lie.
That'd be 28.50 a piece in that case.
What's the total with the coins that we had? Didn't we get some coins too?
That's right. Those coins, we had a total of 3025 coins. So the 3,000, 600 more, and we'll keep a little bit extra in the party fund.
What was the
Okay.
what was the split with the other stuff?
34.50. 28.50 for the haul from the gems and jewelry, and then 600 for the coin.
So 34.50 total with everything.
Right.
Okay.
So 34.50 divided by 2.
So Darwish gets 1725, and 1725 goes in the bank.
Yep.
Mhm.
And each of my classes goes up by 1725.
Oh. I think we also had a small deal, and it could have repercussions with the case of XP, so I bring it up. We had javelins of lightning that were unclaimed.
I think we should sell them.
Okay. Abner, perhaps you or Cork can take them someplace with a more military aspect. But
Absolutely.
if they're magical, I could take them to, say, Robilar. He might be able to tell me where they could be sold.
I don't know if Robilar would want them, but
Well, he's a military man himself.
yeah, we can try. I need to go see about some dwarf plate anyway. So
Yeah, I need to I need to buy some plate too.
Cork, how much does the plate mail cost?
Uh,
I owe you some money, and you have done great service.
Somewhere around here. Oh,
Yeah.
400.
400.
Yeah.
Abner gives you 400 gold pieces.
Oh, well, thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'm going to eschew leveling because I'm not going to be able to afford it. But I am going to hopefully get my hands on some +1 plate if I can get my hands on it.
Okay. But will one of you, Surat Liar or Cork, take care of the javelins of lightning
Absolutely.
and dispose of them?
Sure.
Absolutely. So, DM, how do we want to handle that? Because I think Cork and I are going to do some shopping next.
The disposition of the javelins of lightning, is that what you're asking specifically about?
Those first, Cork wants a set of plate mail, I believe, and then I'm looking to see if there's any magical armor in dwarf size available.
All right.
or if I can set out to have a set made.
Okay, as it happens, there is someone who has a set of plate mail to fit a dwarf. But is it magical? Let's see. Sadly, no. He says that if you wish him to make a set of plate, that is to be enchanted. There's actually a well-known group of adventurers. They're not in the city at this time, but they do commission magic arms and armor from time to time. And he says, I don't like to brag, but he points to a plaque on the wall. It's kind of elaborate, and it's by special order of the Order of the Phoenix. Yes, I've been known to manufacture some quality items to be enchanted from time to time. So a set of plate mail for you, good dwarf, made to exactly your specifications and your fittings, would require quite an extensive outlay of gold. And of course, you understand I could not begin its manufacture until that sum was paid.
Mm-hmm.
This is Dungeon Master opening the player's handbook and looking up enchant an item. So. All right. So such a set of plate mail, given that it would need to be readied to be ensorcelled, would cost 3 times the normal amount. You must understand.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can direct you to those persons at the Collegium Magica here in Greyhawk, and they could then engage henceforth in the further manufacture of the item.
So 1,200 for the plate.
Yes, sir. 1,200 for the plate.
Done.
Very well. If you will step over here, he produces rulers and measures and whatnot, and proceeds to, like, down to the tips of your fingers for the gauntlets measures, and is furiously working these onto a wax tablet.
Watch out for the cupping.
Yeah. Whack! Just inseam, sir. Brace yourself. So yeah, that takes a good few turns, but when all is said and done, this man knows more about your physiology than you do, at least by outward appearance. While this is going on, what is Cork doing?
Does he have a nice suit of plate available?
Yes, of course he does.
I will take it.
All right.
Literally, just take it while he's distracted.
Yes,
so
literally
fine.
just take it. I've been around Turgo too long. No.
I don't think he'd notice.
Yeah, the group of city watchmen who are standing there waiting to have their some links in their chainmail repaired would probably not.
That would probably be an alignment hit too.
That would be an alignment hit. So yes, another one of the ironmongers he goes to and interrupts just temporarily, and it's 400 gold pieces. I told you, it's standard. I don't care how much of a slayer he says he is. It's 400 gold pieces. So
the entire time I'm going to kind of talk up this guy and see if I can get him, while he's doing the measurements, to buy those javelins of lightning.
okay. He thanks you. He kind of thanks you gruffly but politely, but says he's not interested in purchasing the javelins of lightning.
No, not even like for like a trade towards the armor.
No.
Okay.
All right, to Robolard it is then, I guess.
When you pay for your when you pay for your armor.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm sorry. When Cork pays for his armor,
Mhm.
You hear a loud cough behind you, because the front of the place is open, and there is a stoop-backed man wrapped in rags, shivering in the cold, muddy, cobbled street out there, and says, "That's a fine-looking suit of plate there, my lord." Yes,
I agree. It certainly is.
you. I don't suppose you have a bronze coin, perhaps even a whole copper to help an old soldier out himself. I served in the levies in my youth too. And I took a warhammer blow to me leg, and he kind of leans forward and winces slightly to add to the effect. Can barely get by these days, sir. Terrible how they treat an old soldier such as me, sir. Not a fine knight of the realm like yourself. No, sir. You'll spend your days in a fine, warm castle, eating delicious food, drinking only the finest wines.
Alrighty.
Fellow like me could dream of, sir.
Well, I don't have any copper, but here, have a couple of gold. And go get yourself some nice food and a good place to stay.
His eyes bug out of his head, and immediately, like that, you don't even hear the chink as the coins hit in his palm when his hand is closed and he's shuffling away. And there are two more, just like right up. Oh, yes, he's a right proper knight. Yes, he is. Please, for an old woman like me, you could spare another coin. Yes.
Oh my God.
I'm going to step forward and at least save your dignity, and push my holy symbol under her nose, and basically start literally reading the Bible at her. I'm just going to just start performing an exorcism as I walk out there.
Okay. As you do that, she kind of pushes it away and looks at, like, suddenly her eyes that look kind of roomy and cloudy are very sharp and keen as she regards you for a second and says, "I wouldn't be quite so rude to a lady who knows the location of even more treasure, my lord." And she winks at you.
Anyone would say that when they're begging for money.
Ah, but you see, my lord, I know a little secret, a little legend about Greyhawk and beggars.
Everyone does.
For a simple bowl of soup, I could impart some of it upon you, and perhaps if you find the information valuable, then you might cross my palm with a bit of coin.
Well, how about I start with a free remove disease spell so I can get rid of your cataracts? We'll start with that.
Okay, you're going to cast Cure Disease on her?
I'm going to offer to cast Cure
Okay.
Disease on her.
All right. So, oh, well, these old eyes. It's a fair cop. Do your worst, priest.
Sure.
All right. So you hit her with Cure Disease?
Yep.
Yeah, people are like gathered around because you're raising your hands and chanting and, putting them on her eyes. And there are more beggars pressing in around you now.
I could do Cure Blindness if you'd prefer, but I had Cure Disease prepared.
No, Cure Disease will work. We'll go with it. Yeah, this group starts forcing around, and like just her voice nasty and gravelly says, "Piss off, the lot of you. This is business, you see." And she kind of gestures with her hand for a second, and they all grumble and go off. And she immediately becomes rosy and says, "Thank you, my lord. I could see the beautiful sky now and these grand streets of the city of Greyhawk."
Paladin, check my coin purse.
Oh, I didn't touch you, dearie.
Not you, them.
Yeah, no, it's still there. They did not get close enough before she told them to go away. So, this has taken a while because it took them a good 6 turns to measure you. And wouldn't you know it, coming right around the corner, you see Abner and Darwish and Turgo all kind of converging on you. And as she's indicating a cafe nearby.
So the lady was nice enough to decide to give us some information. If we like the information, we can buy her lunch. I already cured her cataracts.
What else did you do for her?
Nothing yet. She hasn't asked nicely.
I see. Well, Darwash usually handles our dirty deeds. Right,
Sadly, with
Darwash?
Darwish, they aren't done dirt cheap.
Yeah.
Indeed. I trained him well.
For those of you playing along at home, for NPC clerics, what he just performed was the equivalent of a 1,000 gold piece favor.
Yep.
So, yeah, this information won't come cheaply, but at the same time, it's a spell you can memorize again. So,
also, if she screws me over, I'm going to show up and blind her personally.
yeah. All right.
I'll make sure she knows it too.
That's
I took the disease away. I can give it back.
She smiles broadly and said, "Oh, I'd never lie to a member of the clergy, particularly not one so fetching and kind as yourself, my lord." Okay, so inside, do you guys accompany her into the cafe? Let me ask you that.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. So inside the cafe, it is crowded. This is definitely a working class establishment. You guys stick out like sore thumbs, and Abner sticks out like a glitter covered, crushed, shaved, purple velvet wrapped sore thumb.
Mission accomplished.
I can cast light.
She and everybody has to save versus spells or be blinded.
Just on Abner. Just
yeah, she no, that's what I'm saying. You cast it on him and it reflects off. So yeah, she walks over to a table and does kind of the same alley cat routine on the 3 tradesmen that are sitting around it. And they kind of grumble, but they make their way over to the bar, and she makes a big show. She, produces a bar rag from somewhere on her person and wipes the table off and shoves a drunk off of a stool. He hits the floor with a thud, and you all sit down, and she yells towards the kitchen, "Doris, potato soup for all of us and a pitcher of ale." And shortly thereafter, that's brought, and she proceeds to messily eat. Doris, who is just on the other side of younger years and better ambitions, kind of tiredly and irritatedly regards the woman and says, "I shouldn't have brought this. Who's paying for this?" She, like, around a mouthful of bread and soup, just kind of indicates you guys and keeps eating. And she turns and regards you and says, It's 8 silver for the soup and bread, and a gold piece for the pitcher of ale."
I'm going to hand her 2 gold pieces and call it good.
All right.
I thirst as well, however, and I only drink the finest of wines.
You're not going to find those here.
Well, you can get the finest wine that they have here.
I'll try it. I'll toss them a gold piece.
Okay.
I'm just going to ask for hot water. I don't trust it if it's not been boiled first.
She brings back a pot that you can still hear bubbling, and a corked and wax sealed stone bottle of wine.
Brilliant.
It's something local, made around the city of Greyhawk from a local vineyard, but it appears to be untampered with.
Smells like 18th century cholera.
Yeah, but it's the cholera that releases the tannins.
I was referring to the water.
So after she has eaten an entire bowl of soup, and unless you guys like grabbed them all, like half of the rolls, she wipes her chin off on there and says, "You've done right by me. Now I can tell you, gentlemen, a bit of information. You see, old Clara here, I wasn't always the plump winter hen you see before you. No.
You're always a talker, though.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
You're always a talker, though. Sorry, I'm heckling the NPC. I'll stop.
No, that's fine. That's fine. You're interacting with the NPC. Years ago, and most folk who live here know this, but you folk are not from here. There used to be a guild other than the assassins and the thieves. There was the Beggars Guild. Oh, yeah. And old boss Theobald, he'd snatch us kids up off the street, tie our legs behind our backs, rub coal dust in our eyes so they were bloody and clouded over. But one night, old boss Theobald, he got it in his head to step on the toes of the Thieves Guild and to butt into the business of the Assassins Guild. Nobody knows exactly what happened to him, but he got his. It's a wonder any of us made it out of that old building alive. But old Clara knows for a fact. Theobald, he had a rich treasure. No beggar he. He was as rich as a lord, and he tried to escape with his goods. They say that one spry beggar and his girl, they were escaping with him. But when he turned his back, they put paid, but nobody ever seen a coin of that treasure. But I know more or less where it's at. They say it was lost in the drains beneath the Beggar Master's headquarters.
Well, you're currently about 1,000 gold and a lunch's worth debt. So, would you care to lead us to the Beggar Master's quarters then?
Well, no Beggar Master's quarters. It's abandoned, run down. But I'll show you, of course. Good as my word. So, is anyone else eating their soups at this
He's
point?
human, I take it, right?
Yeah.
Abner is picked at his.
I don't need that stuff.
I'll eat anything.
Okay.
What, the rolls? Yeah.
The
Sure.
soup.
Oh, okay.
This is not the first time. This story sounds familiar. As Abner is trying to flip through an old journal he has, and he can't find the reference.
News to my ears, but I think I was training at the time the last time y'all ran into these folks.
But if she's willing to show us the location, it might be at least worth that. We can make a note.
Absolutely.
Sure.
How many diseases did I gain from eating the soup?
None. It was boiled to blandness. It was for those of you out there who are fans of it, or rather are not fans of it, I highly recommend it. And I think TK will back me up on this. Is Townsend's, the channel Townsend's. So yeah, this was cheese soup, which is basically milk, cheese, and really old stale bread, but it makes a very delicious, hearty, stick to your ribs kind of soup with some. Yeah, with some cut potatoes in it. Very good. So, she's willing to show you the Beggarmaster's headquarters. It's in an old warehouse near the river.
I will have you know, woman, that I am familiar with this area, and if there's any sneaky business, I will be able to detect it immediately.
Don't worry about me, love. You fixed old Clara's eyes, the good dwarf did. I'm in debt to you. I keep my promises. All right, so yeah, you guys basically, you go into the warehouse quarter and very near the river, away from some abandoned workhouses. Many buildings are shuttered up. They've had whitewash, rent this building for your needs, store your goods here, that sort of thing. But nobody's going to be doing that. This is, Camden, New Jersey levels rough here. And she gestures at a rather indistinct, narrow, but at least from the outside looks like multi-story tall workhouse, and says, "This is it. This is where he kept his old legions of beggars, myself included. They made me sleep with the other girls on the lower floor here." And there's a door that looks like it has been not too recently, but in the last few years has been nailed shut. There is no one on the street at this moment.
Any wildlife?
No.
No.
I mean, it'd be Pigeon
Pigeon
City, so maybe ravens, but there's none here.
I need to find some rats.
What you have for lunch is your own business.
No. There's no
Are there any
spy.
Are there any windows that are not boarded up, broken into, that say a pseudo dragon could fit through?
There is one that is on what you presume is the third story that is not boarded up. All the others are, well, the ones at the street level are bricked up. There are two on the upper level that are boarded up, and then there is the one in the I forget the architectural term, kind of sticks out of a slanted roof type affair.
Okay, so I will send Crow
Cable.
up to the window to peek in.
Okay.
If it can fit, go in carefully, but don't go too far.
Okay. So yeah, he flies up there. And what this is a pseudo dragon, you get his sight. I don't remember, honestly.
Yes, I'll be able to detect invisible as he does.
Okay.
I have it written down. Let me just double check.
Thank you.
Where is it? Where is it? As long as he's within 24 inches, scale inches of me, he can communicate with me, and I'll be able to see as he does.
Okay, so closing your eyes, you can just see a little bit through the heavily gabled window. Thank you very much. There is a dark, large space beyond the gabled window.
Okay, so it's not an open window. That's what I was hoping for.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
We can make it open.
Yeah, but maybe not right now. I get Crow back and we can make plans. Actually, before Crow comes back, I'll have him go up and over the house and look down the back side of the house.
The backside has a few larger windows that have been completely nailed shut, and what looks like what might have been some kind of a large door that is completely bricked over back there. And it is in an alley And Crow thinks back at you. Stinks bad back here. Don't want to stay.
Come back.
All right.
I filter this information to the group that there's one window that's unboarded but not open. This door down here, but most places are boarded or bricked up.
There would be chimneys.
Good point.
Mm-hmm.
He can fit down a chimney.
Perhaps.
Yes, there are chimney pots.
I'll see if he can poke his head down a chimney.
Okay.
Watch out for falling chimney pots, kids.
Yep.
And you get the pseudo draconic equivalent of ew. But he does go down one for a little bit. You just darkness and soot. He's got his infravision on. None of these fireplaces are lit, but he actually comes to a spot in the flue that is so narrow that you can feel it like pressing against his wings. And he's getting a little claustrophobic, you know.
I'll call him back.
Little cat in the cereal box moment for him there. So he gets turned around and comes back out and lands on the ground and proceeds to furiously clean himself.
Sounds good.
Perhaps I should scale this wall and investigate the window.
Well, Turgo, I was wondering, you know the local organizations.
I do.
Who's in charge of this area? I wouldn't want to break a window of a house that is under someone's control.
Indeed. I was just going to have a look. I wouldn't want to break such a window either.
Feel free. But as far as I could see, there was nothing inside that. It was darkness inside that, beyond that window. But
right. Is this like an abandoned quarter, or is this like, at least to the best of my knowledge, something that the thieves,
Yeah, this is kind of a demilitarized zone. The Thieves Guild doesn't bother with it. I mean, and like there's Thieves Guild outposts in the sewers of Greyhawk. They wouldn't bother with most of these buildings.
What would it take for me to start ripping the boards off the front door?
Just I would say
just while they're doing this. by the second time Crow comes back and everybody's looking around and thinking, I'm just gonna shake my head, walk up to the door, shove a pry bar in, and just pop.
Yeah, that's just an open doors check.
And that happens right when Abner says, I wouldn't want to disturb a building that is controlled by someone. Crunch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, succeed.
So is Kurgo gonna climb up?
Not if he's ripping that thing open. They're like, hey, what's that noise? Oh, look, a guy on the wall. Shoot him.
Crunch, rip. Yeah, so go ahead and give me a die roll to open the door.
Success. I rolled a 4.
Okay, yeah, you managed to pull it away, and there is a closed door in front of you. This door, despite being closed, was mostly being held closed by the planks. At some point in the distant past, it was very obviously hacked out, like the lock mechanism was hacked open.
Cool. I will happily push it in.
Clara, was it?
Yes, my lord.
I think our business here is done. Outlier, would you say that it's time for her to go about her business?
Well, one thing, Clara.
Yes.
As I'm opening this door, I'd like to. So you, if you'd be so kind, the women were on the bottom floor. You said.
Yes, my lord.
What room? And to our left as we go in, can you give us an idea here? What's to our left? What's to our right as you go in?
Right behind those doors is a parlor. Look all respectable, at least it used to.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a hallway where the master or the mistress would take us and beat us to teach us our place as soon as we come in. And then there was a washing up room. Not for our use. We were kept filthy, of course. In the dormitory where myself and the other girls, on the left. That's
And
on
the
the
washroom was.
on the right.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were rooms where the boys slept
Mm-hmm.
on the other levels, and somewhere up there is where old Theobald's place was.
And the stairwell leading up is.
Well, it's in the back at the end of the hall.
Thank you. Now Clara can go.
All right. She scuttles off and uh-oh. Well,
Is eaten by were rats.
yeah. Let's see. This doesn't really impinge on you guys at all. She all right, so you are I'm sorry, what?
I should have cast augury.
Okay, so you're standing in front of the building there. Clara vanishes around a corner and up a street.
All right.
Well,
Jen?
you have the door open. I guess we can go in.
Yeah. And we have a rudimentary layout. There should be a small washroom on our left, a much larger room on our right, stairwell straight down ahead. Yada, yada, yada.
Okay, there is a stale smell of decay here. It's not like fresh or anything like that, but there's definitely something, whether it's pigeons or rats or whatever, came in here and expired. It's pretty heavy. And it is, despite the fact that like I said, Need Fest has just ended. It is cold. The darker part of the winter is now upon you. And despite that, it's stuffy in here. Like it's one of those, if you took your coat off, you'd be cold, but keeping your coats on, you're going to sweat a little bit.
Gentlemen, I'm going to have to light a torch.
Yep.
So just keep that in mind, Turgo, if you wish to go ahead in the darkness.
Yeah, well, this place didn't appear to be very big, did it? Sound that way, at least.
It's about 40 feet wide. Its size is in its depth and its height. It's not a wide building at all.
Well, perhaps I should scout the lower floor here before we produce light sources.
Great idea.
But it's up to you.
I'll stay out here until you say it's clear, or yell for help.
Sorry, Outlier.
No, you want to go on your own, or do you need backup?
I can take backup. I
All right.
assume noise is probably not a
Noise
not
is
much
now
of
a
an
moot
issue.
point.
Indeed. Please accompany me.
Okay, Cork, you and Abner, together, right on the door. My dog, you and me inside.
And Darwish is with us too, I believe.
Oh yeah, he wouldn't be able to see. My dog would, but
So
Yeah,
Darwish will stay
Darwish
with
can't see.
the other humans.
Darwish
at least I
walks the
presume my
alleys.
dog would.
We don't need any
Explore the
visitors
building,
from the rear.
human.
I instruct
All
Darwish to watch the alley, in all directions, and look out for anyone following up that Clara may have told about our presence.
That's okay. If she betrays us, I'll blind the old bat again. It'll be fine.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Alrighty, so immediately you notice in the entry parlor, everything is chaos. There's chairs are turned over. There's a table that's been kicked over. Almost every surface seems to be nicked up, and there is a burned spot on the floor that you're standing very near to. And indeed, on the far wall, which has an opening in it that you presume goes all the way back towards the staircase. At least that would be your assessment of it. On the left side of that opening is a crossbow bolt stuck in the wood there. It looks like it's a time capsule of some kind of horrible attack.
Well, apparently no homeless people have moved in here because none of these furnishings would have survived the winter.
And why was it boarded over?
Presumably, at least judging by the smell, was a tomb.
I'm
Advancing
just
into the left.
hoping it was designed to keep something out rather than preventing,
Or maybe to keep
from
something
getting
in.
out. Right.
All right, you want to go first? Or
Sure.
all right. Do you want the bill, or do you have that confounded contraption of yours?
The brilliant confounded contraption. I'm so happy that I came up with that. I'll uncollapse or screw together my collapsible 10-foot pole and proceed carefully as if a blind man.
I resemble
on
that
everything.
remark. Thank you.
Well, so do I. Yeah, I'm not really concerned about noise in here. I'm more concerned about anything out of the ordinary. So I'll move slowly and tap around,
Okay.
pretty conspicuously.
Okay. All right. So are you say you're just tapping around?
Yeah, poking and prodding, tapping the floor, and then moving forward. And if there's furniture near me and some of these crumbled belongings and things like that, I'll lightly push them aside. If they're too heavy, I'm not going to mess with them too much.
Okay.
But I just want to kind of want to beat the bushes a little bit while moving slowly to avoid any sort of, surprise or rats, vermin, critters, whatever.
Do what we call a skating tap.
Quiet, you. I see that, Kyle.
I agree with him.
Who are we agreeing with?
All right. So you're moving down the hall.
Slowly.
Slowly. Turn.
By the way, Turgo, do yourself a favor. Put a little rolly bit on the end of your 10-foot pole.
Not a bad idea.
Best thing ever.
Hey, let's watch it with these technical terms now. A little rolly bit.
Yep.
All right.
Some might even call it a wheel.
I'm going to put a dog paw on it. I don't know where I'm going to get one of those, but...
Actually, blind people for hiking, they put like these big flat hooks on them, which is cool too.
Ah, right.
Okay, as you are moving down the hall, Turgo, tap, 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 tap. You move 10 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet, and there is a twang as your foot contacts something that feels like a piece of stiff wire. Just a moment, and I will let you know what the outcome of that is. I'll just roll this 3 times.
I have 1 cure light wounds while I'm in town.
A scything blade slides out of the wall and slams into Turgo, and Turgo takes 14 points of damage.
Ah!
Ow.
Yank.
God.
I collapsed to a knee.
Yeah, you guys hear this wet splatter.
Cork, I think that may be our signal. We
I
should go
think
in.
you're right. Yeah.
I let it torch before we head in.
I'm gonna walk up behind the wounded thief and cure him for 5, and then tell you to get up, you ninny, and continue doing your job.
It feels much better.
I got one more.
So about 10 feet down on the right, there is a door that is mostly broken off of its hinges. 10 feet down another 10 feet down on the left, there is an opening. There's no door.
Which direction do you suggest?
You go left, I go right.
I'll go left. This time I might be a bit slower. This place may be riddled with traps. I'm going to search along the way.
This is no beggar's quarters. It's a tomb. Okay.
I'll look in the right room.
All right. So in the right, there are broken stone bases here and again. There's a pile of rags. It's rather large. It would come up to about mid-calf on the dwarf in one corner. To your eyes, there are brown stains on the floor everywhere, so you presume that a lot of blood was shed in this room. Turgo, back over where you are. This, true to her words, this looks like it was a dormitory. It is equally a wreck. Chests have been broken open. Their contents dumped on the floor. It's all spoiled by, rat droppings and urine, or just shredded up and that sort of thing. Very disturbingly, hanging from a wall by small daggers is a small skeletal form that looks like it was pinned there in cruciform with daggers. And a streak of what you presume is dried blood, lots of it. Whoever that was, they didn't pass easily.
So the area underneath where this creature, presumably a halfling or something, was crucified, is that area pretty clear of debris, or has it all just fallen around?
Oh no, it's not clear at all.
Right. So there's not really any sort of discernible pathway through this room without shaking.
Yeah, you'd have to step over and through different things. And this is you don't recognize. Well, I mean, you do recognize the sigils. You can't read them, but hastily scrawled in blood around this crucified. It's clothed, but a crucified skeleton on the wall are some signs that you recognize as basically being warnings from the Assassin's Guild.
Right. So a read languages or something like that wouldn't help.
What is your read languages?
That would be a 30.
A 30. Okay. It takes you a minute to make out because you are through your with infravision, the temper differentials aren't great in here, but you can kind of tracing it with your eyes, not with your touch. This is what happens to all who forget their place. There is no more Beggars Guild.
I agree with that. I'll make my way,
and then under the feet, it reads, "Let her screams remind you forever."
Okay. Well, I don't want to move much more through here without some backup. So I'm going to go back to the point where I first entered this room and wait for Outlier to hopefully do the same.
Outlier in the washroom, as you're kind of looking at this equally sad tableau, the heap in the corner begins to move.
I was going to ask if my dog noticed anything, and I guess the answer is yes.
Your dog growls, and its hackles are up.
Mm-hmm.
And the heap of rags actually turns out to be its tattered robes over a skeleton that it's turning and looking at you. The good news is it doesn't seem to be unfriendly because it's smiling.
Good news, also, I'm just going to turn undead and go from there.
All right, let's roll initiative.
Absolutely. Cork, you're on the top. You want to roll?
Sure.
Okay, any of you.
A 3.
Okay, you're pulling your holy symbol out, and it is lunging forward with its bony fingers, its bony skeletal fingers. What's that old Mac adventure game? You know, the charming old woman turns around and turns out it's a horrible skeleton. You guys know the one I'm talking about. Okay, it actually, well, I don't know. I'll have to see. Let's see. Does a 19 hit you?
That's actually a good question. I am AC 0.
You are AC 0, but it is effectively a 1+1 hit die monster. So
Yeah.
I'm going to say that it does.
If it is just a skeleton, I will turn it automatically.
Excellent. But you don't destroy though, do you?
No.
Okay.
It just won't get a second swing.
Yeah, it rakes its skeletal fingers down your face and inflicts 5 points of damage.
I might just cut it in half out of spite.
Okay. You can turn it. You can attack it. What is Abner doing? You hear, I guess, at least a grunt of pain from Sir Outlier. How about Cork?
I guess we decided to head towards the noise.
It's just the
Okay.
one you said?
Yeah, it's just one.
Okay, then I'm just going to cut it down.
Are they upstairs yet, or are they still downstairs?
No, you're all on the lower level together.
Okay.
I presume a 15 plus math hits and 12 damage.
Yeah, you smash it to flinders and it collapses onto the floor.
Turgo, you look very injured.
Somewhat, yes.
Here.
Scything blade trap, the oldest trick in the book.
I'm
I
glad
sure
you
have,
detected it so well. Here.
Hey, the dwarf
hold
was
the potion.
supposed to
Hold
be
this
fingering
potion.
the walls. Thank you.
He hands you a potion of healing.
Okay, and I'll do as instructed and hold it.
Yeah, dude.
Thank you.
It's yours now. You seem to need it more than I do.
Remember, my healing is free.
Yes, but if I'm scouting ahead, perhaps this may be useful should this situation occur, as it seems to most often.
This is all very fascinating. So perhaps Clara was telling some part of the truth.
Indeed.
Well, it definitely looks like a battle was fought here some time ago.
Turgo, do you let us know about the message on the wall?
Yes, this seems to have been affected, at least in part, by those who travel the night cloaked, seeking victims in the darkness. The
Vampire?
Assassin's Guild. Hey, I'm role playing, bro.
That's fine.
So, parts of Clara's story are correct. Doesn't mean that the treasure part of the story is correct. But
Indeed, the room over there is shambles. I didn't travel any further, just enough to discern what the runes said on the wall.
and then Outlier, you found a skeleton. What did Clara say about where Theobald was? I believe was he fleeing in the sewers? Is that how the story went?
I believe so, yes.
Partly asking aloud so the DM might be able to help remind the player.
Well, if you weren't paying attention, I'm not going. No.
Well, damn.
She had said that he was trying to escape into the drains.
Okay. So
There should be some way down.
Yeah. We might still want to go up first to see what is above us before we go down.
Would you like to check out this corpse? I mean, I assume that they mutilated the poor woman or whatever it is and left nothing of value, but perhaps not.
I'm going to give my dog one of the bones from the skeleton and pat him on the head.
Oh, that settles that.
Yeah.
No, not the one on the wall. The one I've shattered in pieces.
Well, looking into the room with the grizzly display, it's all like a big mess. It's hard to. Sorry, Viking at GM. Is this better?
Let's all do it.
Okay. You're searching the ruins. You hear rats scratching.
You know what's sad? You'd probably get more views.
See, the problem is I'm not a Russian girl. I'm not a Russian.
We had noticed that. We had noticed, Bill, that you.
That's comforting, Mark. That's exceptionally comforting. All right,
I'm observant like that. I see these things.
That's why you play the magic user. You're the smart one.
Anyway, the room with the grizzly display.
The Beatles order for you guys too. Anyway, so yeah, the room with the display.
Am I correct? Is it just like trash everywhere? We can't just walk over to the thing.
Yeah, it's knocked over chests and busted open armoires. There's just bits and scraps of stuff here.
Are there any other doors here?
It's freaking Vince out. Not to your observation, no.
Well, perhaps the dwarf should scrape up the mess and make a pathway for me, and I'll check the walls.
Do I notice anything with my stonework?
Well, this is like plaster and lathe, so no.
Okay. I figured I'd ask.
No, it's a fair question. If you guys were in the cellar, absolutely would have been able to check for.
Ironically, that's what I'm looking for.
An entrance to the cellar. Yeah, you don't see one, not in here.
Okay. I'm gonna. Well, I guess
this is like a. I was gonna say this is a beggar's. There's got to be trapdoors everywhere and secret doors.
Yeah. There's probably going to be an obvious cellar staircase.
Yeah.
That'll at least give us a start.
Can we at least strip away like an inch wide strip of the plaster around the room?
Sure, if you wish to do that. Yeah, I mean it's dry rotted and just rotted. So yeah, peeling aside some of it, you have the pillars, basically medieval equivalent of 2x4s. Not up on my medieval construction, sorry.
I'll save that lecture for when you actually ask for it.
Would you? I mean, if this was
that one to you.
If this was a modern setting, I could tell you exactly precisely what the construction was like, because from the age of about 11 until 17 or 18, I was press ganged into hanging drywall with my father. So I know what modern construction is like, but the medieval stuff, so you don't, yeah, you know what? And I'll give you you poke around the walls in this chamber. At least there are no secret passages that you guys can find.
Do we want to search through this trash and examine the floor?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, look around the floor. Are there any rugs or anything that could be covering something, like besides the trash?
There's enough piles of stuff on the floor that you could So
help the man out.
We need Abner to roleplay Brian Blessed, and then Mark jumps in. Gordon's alive. That's what I love about the Tuesday night game. All right, so Pardon me here.
No.
You're gonna have to.
Pardonings cost money. Don't you know how the church works?
Well, you'll have to ask Dungeon Minister or Tunkatot about that.
Tithes. Remember, kids, pay today, sin tomorrow.
Okay, as you guys are moving stuff away, there is a shuffling and a clacking underneath one of the beds. You appear to have disturbed something. There are a couple of fire beetles crawling out from under the detritus.
Spoil.
You are not surprised, and neither are they. They have their pinchers out, and they are scuttling towards you. So we'll start at the top of the order. Baron, what is Cork doing? Darwash is drawing his sword.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay. Mark, what about Abner?
Picking up his skirts and backing up. He's going to get out of this.
TK, what are you doing?
Do fire beetles count as animals?
For what purpose?
For the purpose of speak with animals.
No.
Okay, then I'll apply sword.
Okay. Turgo?
Yeah, I'll draw a long sword and dagger.
Yuma? All right. Okay, let's roll initiative, and we're going to go over to Mark. Abner, roll initiative for the party, please. Party, because it's a random encounter, that's why.
4.
Okay, party goes first. Attack the beetles. Yeah.
I presume 11 kills one.
11. Wait, would you roll to hit?
19 plus math.
Yeah, so you have turned the fire. Well, let me see. Hang on.
I rolled a 1 for damage.
What's the plus on that Vorpal blade again? Is it plus?
+2.
+2?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
Well, let me just see
that's
here, 'cause
exactly
I'm-
right, Abner. You're 100%. I don't always try and talk to creatures.
I'm assuming an
When I
18 hits.
Yes, a 19 will hit.
6 damage.
All right, so fire beetles, 1 + 2. The 11 slew the one, and this will. So you did 6 damage total.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just pin it to the floor, and it kind of twitches and dies. They did not get a shot off, as it were. Pardon me.
And Turga, did you transfix one?
Yeah, there were only 2, and they're dead.
Oh shit, I thought there were 3.
Nope. But you do have their glands from their that glow.
Yeah,
So
Abner will take those because so he doesn't need to use torches all the time down here.
yes,
They'll last for a couple hours, I think.
2 above their eyes and 1 on the back of their abdomen, and they will glow for 1 to 6 days. And so that means you have a total of 6. These things are fairly small, or else you would have heard them and seen them earlier. So you guesstimate you've got about a day's worth of glow out of these.
That'll last while we're in here, at least.
There's a nice red glow now for you all to see by.
So, if I understand this house correctly, we have a front room, we have a hallway with 2 rooms off of it.
Mm-hmm.
The hallway contained the pit, the trap.
Mm-hmm.
We still haven't found the staircase, which would be far to the back if Clara's correct. Should we continue? Have we found any further? Like, does the corridor keep going?
No, it stops at the stairway.
Oh, there's the stairway. The stairway just goes up.
Yes.
There should be a way down.
Yeah.
Have we finished? Sorry, have we finished like examining the floor in this room, and that's what we found, or were we like halfway through the process of moving the rubble out of the way?
No, that's about what you found.
By Abner's estimation, and he could measure it if he needs to, is that staircase basically at the back of the house, or is there seeming like maybe more to the house behind it?
You can't really tell from the inside.
But I had Crow fly over it, so maybe I have an idea. Please, Mr. D.
Yeah, you think that's the back of the house.
Okay, cool.
That's it.
Well, either there's trapdoors all over this floor here, like this whole floor of the house, or somehow we go up and then come back down some way. We could check the other rooms, the washroom and the front room, for trapdoors, and this hallway. Shall we start doing that?
Indeed. Seems like a plan to me.
Abner's willing to try to look through this hallway. He knows that it probably doesn't have any more traps in it, he hopes. They've already been found.
You hope.
Hope, yes.
How many 3d8 strikes do you think Abner could survive? Just curious.
Not many. Approximately one.
Luck is that which happens when you are silently praying to the gods of magic that you do not lose your feet to a 5 foot wide rotating spring loaded saw blade, and luck happens. So
if we want, we could basically go around and someone check the washroom, someone check the front room. Abner has a staff. He's willing to tap the floor and listen for hollow spots, type of thing. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Shall we do that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Abner will go up and down the hallway, seeing if there's a hidden trap door in the hallway.
okay, Abner. You spend a while searching along in the hallway. What about Cork or anyone else?
I'm busy removing plaster from walls with the careful application of a crowbar.
Okay.
I'm gonna head upstairs.
Okay.
In that case, I'll follow him.
All right. You two downstairs are spending a while searching. You go up a couple of turns before you get to the first landing, and lying there, just inside of a door, sort of slumped against it, is there are two obviously deceased figures, and when they leap up, you are both somewhat startled by that. They stretch out with their one has like a rusty dagger, and the other has what looks like a doorknob with screws through it that's been brazed to a chain, and they're swinging at you. That is a miss on Turgo, and that is a miss on the good paladin Cork. So what do you wish to do?
Attacking kind.
Yep, return the favor.
All right. Well, that was their round of their segment. So let's roll initiative, and why don't you go ahead and roll that there, Doom Sword?
I don't know what's going on with this earpiece. Hang on just a second.
All right.
Come on. All right. Well, I can at least steer out of that one. Was I to roll initiative?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
All right. That'd be a 1.
Okay, the skeletons strike again.
Oh, my AC is 1 now, by the way.
All right. Turgo, you are struck for 3 points of damage.
All righty.
Counterattacks, please.
Oh, nat 20.
Okay.
Plus.
Roll some damage.
I don't think the skeleton's going to care about Vorpal.
Probably not. 7 plus 3 is 10.
Yeah, this is like one of those infomercials you see from China where the guy like chops through like 3 lengths of lead pipe and then gently cuts the tomato. You're just like, shank, and this thing falls apart. Turgo, do your worst.
Yeah, well, I miss with both actually, both my longsword and my dagger. Horrible
Okay.
rolls.
You guys downstairs are far enough away that you do not hear this going on. I'm going to say that Darawesh, being your employee, Turgo, is coming up the stairs, and he will be there at the end of this round. I'm guessing you guys are going to attack this thing, correct?
Absolutely.
Let's roll initiative, and it goes over to Baron.
2.
Okay.
Mindlessly, this thing continues to hack away at, or at least attempt to hack away at Turgo, but misses. Counterattacks, please.
All right, I'll go ahead and attack if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Quite all right.
the dagger does hit in that situation. The longsword again is the exact same result and a miss. And the dagger hits for 5 points of damage.
Okay, yeah, you just kind of jam it in somewhere and wiggle it a little bit, and the thing clatters and falls apart. Straw Piglet was asking if he has a Vorpal sword. Yes. Sometimes the dice tell a story that neither the dungeon master nor the players were expecting, and that's exactly what happened with that thing being in a random treasure pile. Hey, it wasn't a holy avenger.
That's how my second level magic user got a Wand of Frost.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, so yeah, Darawesh is leaping up the stairs, and he says, "I didn't want to leave the magic user unguarded. Are you okay?"
Yeah, we're fine.
All right. So in front of you on this landing, and the stairs continue to go up, but in front of you there is a door that looks like it was attempted to be hastily barricaded and is smashed in.
Oh, okay.
And you can see,
no
way. What light source do you have, Paladin, other than your own holiness?
I have a torch.
Okay. All right, so if flickering in the torchlight down the hall, you can see there are openings to the left and to the right, and the hallway continues on into the darkness. Downstairs, you guys have spent a good, you spent a couple of turns trying to gut the inside of the building, and no such luck.
I'm thinking specifically the bottom of the stairwell has got to have it.
Yeah, let's check there next.
Okay. Those of you upstairs, what are you doing now?
All right, you said there's a hallway that goes left and right?
No, there's a hallway that goes straight, but there are openings on the left and the right.
Okay.
Yeah, unless you would like to make your way in there, I can travel with light or without. I could take a look first, or
Sure, that's fine. I'll hang here.
All right. Am I able to make it out of the radius of his torch into the hallway?
Yes.
All right. I'll do so carefully and slowly, running my hands along the walls this time to see if I discover anything out of the ordinary.
Okay.
Until I make my way to the right passage, or the right opening in the passage.
Alrighty. Now, one thing you do notice, I'm not going to do find traps for this. There are scatterings of caltrops on the floor here.
Okay. Right. Does there appear to be any pattern to the scattering of the caltrops?
No, it looks like they were just thrown down in haste.
Right.
Whether it was to stop people from leaving or to stop people from entering, you're not sure.
Okay. Well, as I make my way up toward the opening on the right side, I'd like to slowly brush away those caltrops with my boots.
Okay.
To get them out of the way in case I need to beat a hasty retreat. I don't want to step on them.
Yeah, it makes a little bit of noise, but you're slowly able to advance down the hallway. Are you going into any of the openings?
Well, I'd like to look through the right opening and see if I see anything with my infravision.
Okay, this looks like a semi-private room. There are a couple of knocked over bunk beds, and there are skeletons lying on the floor, and more bloodstains here also.
Okay. I don't suppose that Cork would see any sort of hand motion from me, but I will motion to him, that I'm still alive or whatever, and move over toward the left opening and look through there, peering in with infravision.
Okay. So peering into that one, it looks very similar to the other one. There is a copious amount of blood just inside the entrance. Well, I mean, dried blood on the floor. But you kind of get the suspicion that maybe somebody made a good accounting for themselves in here before they died, because there are a couple of viciously slashed viciously slashed because their clothing is in tatters. Obviously they're just skeletons at this point, lying here.
Sure. What about straight forward in this hallway? Does it appear to have an immediate end?
Yeah, it looks like it just ends in a wall, and you suspect that it maybe had a window, and it's one of the bricked over windows that you can see from the street.
Okay. I'll go ahead and remove my collapsible pole and slowly proceed to the end of that hallway. Tapping along the floor,
All right. You don't find or spring any traps as you move there. The chambers to the left and to the right seem to all be variations on the same sad tableau. There is one of them that has a set of bunk beds that are not knocked down or ransacked, and there are no skeletons there.
Right. So there were two openings on each the right and the left side, or
there are just openings as you go down.
Okay, so just rooms and a hallway in the manor, like bedrooms or something like that, barracks, whatever. Okay. That end of the passageway, I want to look over that carefully, and besides the passive chance or whatever to check secret doors, I'd like to look over that carefully, and I'll make whatever the designated noise is for Cork to proceed.
Okay. You do after looking along, you don't see a secret door, but you can see there is a section of wood plank that is very cleverly disguised, but it looks like it's been opened already. That it qualifies as a secret door. Basically, there's a section of wooden plank in the flooring. Let's go back down to our fighter cleric and our magic user. What have you guys got going on?
Stripping the wood paneling off the floor.
Yeah, we were looking at near the staircase to see if there's some secret passages leading down in that area specifically.
Neither one of you find anything in your digging and tearing and so on.
Maybe we need to go upstairs and see what's on the second or third floor.
Absolutely.
We will start heading upstairs.
Okay. So Turgo, you have this piece of wood in the floor. Like I said, that looks like it might be something.
And there's gaps between the planks that make up this piece of wood, like that I could peer through, or does it appear to be like a
No, it looks almost flawlessly smoothed back. You might have to use a knife edge to pry it up.
All right. Do I hear Cork coming along the passageway after I?
Is Cork going there? You tell me.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to wait until he gets up here and point it out to him, and point out that one of the passageways or one of the openings into a room along the way is apparently unmolested.
Yeah, there's a splashing of blood at the opening and out into the hall, but the beds are not wrecked, and it's the same one with the plank.
Okay. So
Should
the
we
plank
inform the
is.
others?
Oh yeah, I think they're.
Yeah, we'd be trundling our way up.
Yeah. You guys, just for convenience sake, I'll say you've come up there now.
Okay. So we're all staring at the plank.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we move the plank?
I think that's a good idea.
Most likely.
I'll stand back here.
Notice the seamlessness of it.
It's a poison.
I'm quite suspicious of the way this was constructed. I don't suggest that any dwarf rip it apart with his bare hands, unless, of course, I check it and make sure there aren't any traps, and then stand back before he does so.
I'll say I can rip it apart with a crowbar, and that way I'm not touching it with my bare hands.
Well, okay, I'll just stand back then. How about that?
Does
Sure,
anyone have any theories about why this room was untouched?
Well, at first I suspected a trap.
And did you find any?
I haven't looked.
May I recommend you look first?
Yeah, let's. So I'm sorry. Is the plank in the room? Like we have to go into the room to get the secret door? Or is it outside the room?
I think the room was just left untouched because it's where the violence wasn't.
Yeah, but that's the question of why it wasn't.
It's
very odd. It is very odd that yes, the blood is on threshold outward, and that room is nice. But like I said, I'll be over here. I'll let you. I will stay out of your way while you do what you're skilled at.
I tell you what, Abner.
Yes.
I'm a betting man. You and I. 1,000 gold says that room's fine and not magical in any way, shape, or form.
I am not betting.
I'll cast Detect Magic anyway.
Feel free.
There is nothing magical in that room, except for the various items that the party has on them who are in the room.
Other than our thief glowing like a lightning bug, no, there's no magic.
Yeah, it may not be magical, but like I said, I'll stay back here. Please, Turgo, Outlier, do what you are skilled at.
So that plank in the floor, like Mark had asked, I was under the impression that was at the end of the hall, and I hadn't made my way into the relatively pristine room, or was it in the pristine?
It's in the relatively pristine room.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So if you guys want to search through it or whatever, I'll check the floor and see if there's anything out of the ordinary.
All right. You do not find any traps. Nothing's out of the ordinary there.
It seems fine.
Let's go. I'll give it an open.
All right. Okay, yeah, you just wedge your fingernails in there, and you can pull it out. There's it's essentially a wedge-shaped splinter of the plank that you pull out, and it appears to have been very cleverly concealed. There's a peg that holds the splinter in place and makes it appear just as the rest of the floor, except to the keenest of eyes. And by moving it out, there is a hollow space, and there is a leather bag tucked in to the hollow space.
Ooh. Dwarf, are you going to grab that? Or perhaps I could pull it out with my pole.
I can hook a knife into the bag and pull it out.
I'll take a step back.
Okay, the bag is it's small. You can see the coins, some coins, you don't know what kind of coins they are, bulging against the skin of it. It's made of leather or hide or something. And it has really been rammed down in there. Enough that there could be another bag or two like that were placed on top of it without the wedge being rucked up by that. It would be very well hidden. So the bag has some unknown amount of coins in it.
Okay. Otherwise, I'll pass that along. This isn't the treasure we're looking for, but sure.
Is that it for this level? Shall we go up another floor? There are 3 floors in this building, I believe. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna move the bed and see if there's anything underneath there.
There's not.
Okay.
Well, you know what? No, there's not.
Okay.
And speaking as an architect, it makes far more sense for him to have a secret door on the first floor unless he's made a chute. And if he's made a chute, let's check the fireplace floors.
Good idea.
Turgo, if you please.
Sure. And where are these fireplaces?
DM.
There's literally only one on this entire floor, and the room that it's in has no beds. It's got a broken in half table and a few broken chairs in it. So it was, even though these were separate dormitories compared to what the girls might have had on the first floor, they were probably still miserable cold at this time of year, as it is kind of right now, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to check in the chimney. You don't. You do not immediately espy anything as you are looking. Half a tick. Come on. You are not surprised, however, because there are cobwebs in there, to see spiders, large spiders, come crawling towards the light source.
Stuffed torch.
So, let's see. How many of these bad boys?
I don't know why, but StreamYard keeps dropping my audio. I figured out that it's not the earbuds, it's the StreamYard dropping my audio and changing audio source, which is weird.
Sorry about that, man.
No, just if you don't hear from me and it involves me, I'll just switch to a pair of headphones.
Okay. So yeah, there's easily a dozen spiders the size of like saucers scuttling down towards you. What are you doing, Turgo? You see, not leaving my head in the fireplace is not the thing.
That's definitely not the thing. So basically, I looked up and I seen, or I was down searching the floor. I missed that part, and then heard noise, looked up, seen spiders scurrying down.
That is correct.
Right. Yeah. Well, I lunge back, a little bit startled for 3 to 5 feet, and inform the rest of the group. Spiders.
Okay, let's roll initiative, and I want you to do that. Okay.
Certainly.
All right.
Let's see what we got here. That's a 3.
Okay. Well, the party will go first when we return next week
Okie
to
dokie.
find out about the spider battle. So, yeah, that's a thing that's happening now. Any of you out there who are fans of a certain book series might recognize some of these locales and names. Yes, that's on purpose, but no peeking for our players. So I'd like to thank everybody for stopping by and listening to me rant for a little while this evening. It's a lot of fun. Tomorrow night we'll be back, and I presume that Kyle will be in the driver's seat. Thursday night we'll come back with some more gaming positivity, guys, because that's what I'm all about. Friday, more of the same, and Gamma World. Gamma World returns to flight on Friday, and our very own Doomsword Deathmaster will be part of that game. So thank you to everyone in the audience tonight. Thank you to my players. I'm going to do a thing here where I've kind of slowly got to shut down stuff because there's not like a one push solution for me to just sort of drop everything and start our awesome end credits. So I'm going to go ahead and say a big super thank you to all of our players now. And we're going to go ahead and roll those credits. And I hope you guys will like watching them as much as I liked making them. Have an absolutely wonderful evening, everyone. And I will see you next time. Peace.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around. Some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle way off course? Naked as a toad, all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me to the show.